Welcome, PFL fight fans, once again to beautiful Atlanta, Georgia, our home for 3 straight weeks. This is the second of those weeks, and we are at Overtime Elite Arena, a beautiful facility, host to plenty of important regular season action as the march to the playoffs continues. Tomorrow night is for the heavyweights and the women's featherweights. Welcome to the weigh-in. Like I said, heavyweights and women's featherweights with just one more opportunity tomorrow night to earn points in our playoff standings. If you're new to the PFL and you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to playoffs in the sport of mixed martial arts, I've got you covered. We've got 10 fighters in each division. We have 6 different divisions. 2 regular season fights for each fighter. Tomorrow night is the second of those regular season fights. We get 3 points for a win, bonus points for a finish in any round. The top 4 fighters on points in each division will make the playoffs, and there's $1 million at stake for the champion in each of our divisions. Sean O'Connell here beside the PFL Smart Cage with the legends, Kenny Florian and Randy Couture. Randy, every one of our heavyweights and our women's featherweights signed up for the toughest test, maybe in all of sports.
Yeah, as if mixed martial arts wasn't tough enough. We took MMA and put it into a true sports format. So you want to be a world champion in the PFL, you're signing up to fight 4 times in 8 months. That is no small feat. That is a big ask, and these fighters embrace that grind and do it every single year. Here's our second regular season fights coming up.
And some, including favorites tomorrow night, step in desperate for points, meaning the playoffs will elude them if they don't get not just a win, but a finish.
Yeah, but the good news is that it's all based on their performance. You know, how well you do out there, how quickly you're able to finish, you get more points because of it. It's all based on merit. We started with 60. For the playoffs, we're going to have only 24. So we've already had some crazy upsets, and I expect to see more, guys.
Yeah, if you think you know who those 24 are going to be, well, you're probably wrong. Take, for example, what happened last week. A young man out of Peru named Jesus Pinedo came in to the main event desperate for points against last year's featherweight champion. And he did this. Lands the knee, finishes with the ground and pound, knocks Brendan Loughnane not only out, but out of the playoffs. And Chris Wade, who has been part of our playoffs every year in the PFL, he also got knocked out because Pinedo's first round finish came faster than Wade's first round finish, which happened earlier in the night. So expect the unexpected when there are fighters vying for playoff appearances and keeping a $1 million dream alive. All right, let's get to the fights tomorrow night. Here's our main card. Starting at 10 Eastern on ESPN, simulcast on ESPN Plus, and of course on ESPN Deportes. You've got heavyweights, including last year's champion Ante Delia. You've got women's featherweights, including last year's women's lightweight champion Marisa Pacheco. And then we'll open the action with a special amateur lightweight showcase. Biagio Ali Walsh, the grandson of Muhammad Ali, taking on a local favorite right here out of Atlanta, Travell Miller. And you can see, man, look at the odds next to Marisa Pacheco's name. She's a huge favorite despite the fact that her opponent, Amber Leibrock, is currently atop the women's featherweight standings. We'll get to the women's featherweight standings in a second. Let's look at the heavyweight standings after one regular season bout. Dennis Goltsov, 6 points for a first round finish. Maurice Green, part of tomorrow night's main event. He is riding 5 points into his second regular season bout. Danilo Marquez, Reina Ferreira, Mateusz Scheffel all have 3 points apiece. All right, let's talk about Dennis Goltsov and the position he's in. 6 points right now, top of the table, but we know that the heavyweight division is full of finishers, so we can't rest on those laurels.
Absolutely not. Ante Delia, last year's champion, had to sit out the first round of first fights. He had an injury, but he's back now, and he's under the gun, on the bubble. Needs to score big points to get himself into the playoffs for this season. Ante trains with the legendary Mirko Krokop out of Croatia. This guy's got great hands, great judo background. He's a very, very well-rounded fighter. He's going to be tough to deal with, and he's going to score points tomorrow night for sure.
Ante Delia, desperate for points, is absolutely something you want to see, unless maybe you're standing across from him. And standing across from him is the crochet boss, Maurice Green, who's going into tomorrow night incredibly confident.
Yeah, that's right. And if you want to be the best in this sport, you have to surround yourself with the best in the sport. One of those guys is Jon Jones. He really sees Jon Jones as a mentor, a guy that has helped him a lot. This is not the same Maurice Greene from just a few years ago. We saw that in his fight here against Marcelo Nunes, an excellent grappler who a lot of people thought would be a bad matchup for him. Well, that was not the case. Maurice Greene looked fantastic, getting back to his feet, finishing him on the feet.
Yeah, second round finish, good for 5 points. That's why Maurice Greene is number 2 right now in the heavyweight standings. Let's check in on the women's featherweight standings. As I mentioned previously, Amber Leibrock, top of the table right now. Highlight reel finish in Las Vegas in her first bout. We'll show you that in just a second. Marina Malknatkina, second round finish, good for 5 points for her. Larissa Pacheco, Evelyn Martins, and Olena Kolesnik all got decision victories. Kolesnik was penalized 1 point because she missed weight for her bout in Vegas. She did make weight earlier at the official ones, the weigh-ins earlier this morning. All right, now let's talk about Larissa Pacheco. 155-pound women's champ a season ago. She's part of the co-main event tomorrow night. She's chasing a second belt in a lighter weight class.
Yeah, that's right. You know, she sees, her legacy out there, and she wants to be the best in 2 different divisions. She wants to establish herself as the best pound-for-pound woman in the world. She was able to do that, partly by defeating Kayla Harrison last year. Now she says she wants to be the best at 145 pounds. Had a tough weight cut in her last fight here, in her first fight of the year against Julia Budd, but she said she has that dialed in and she is ready for another fantastic performance.
So Pacheco coming in with 3 points. Her opponent has 6, Randy. The pressure is on Larissa Pacheco. Amber Leibrock, though, wants to prove a point and beat last year's women's champion.
Amber Leibrock from Hayward, California, cuts a formidable stature in the 145-pound class at 6 feet tall. That height and length gives her some long-range weapons, like you saw right there. The kick heard around the world in many ways against Martina Jandrova. She's long, rangy. She can use those levers on the ground and on her feet. She's a very formidable competitor and striker. She's going to be tough to deal with.
All right, we'll get these folks on the scale momentarily, but you know what? We brought Brett Okamoto back, ESPN Mixed Martial Arts Insider. He's got more on Amber Leibrock.
Yeah, guys, I mean, Amber Leibrock, how many times, you can't watch that highlight enough, the sound that head kick made, and when you do a highlight like that, you're going to get some big opportunities. Well, here is one on Friday, Amber Leibrock facing last year's lightweight champion, Pacheco. A lot of more eyeballs on her than there were in her first fight. A lot more at stake. Is she ready for it? We asked her this week.
The lights are not too bright, so the stage is not too big for me anymore. I'm ready. This is exactly where I'm meant to be. PFL feels like home. I believe in destiny, I believe in fate, and I believe that God has put me right in the position I'm supposed to be in. I love it now. There was a point in time in my career where it was all a little too much, but now I'm thriving. I'm the best I've ever been. I'm mentally the best I've ever been, physically the best I've ever been, and I'm ready to shine under those lights and show the world that this is my time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if she is able to capitalize on this opportunity, she does have star power, because it is easy to be a fan of her in the ring, right, when you see that highlight, but also outside of the ring when she says she's been an underdog her whole life. Mixed martial arts actually saved her life. So a lot going for Amber going into this fight. And for another storyline to keep an eye on Friday, here's Dan Hardy.
Thank you very much, Brett. It's great to be here again. And I want to draw your attention to a very special prospect, an amateur prospect that's going to be on this card. Biagio Ali Walsh, you guessed it, the grandson of the great Muhammad Ali. And you can imagine the kind of pressure that's on this kid's shoulders, but every time he steps into the smart cage, we are just more and more impressed. Now, of course, striking is his skill set. You can see this in the clips. Really accurate right hand over and over again, finds the target, really hurts his opponent. But of course, that's not enough for mixed martial arts. What we've seen from Biagio is a really well-rounded mixed martial arts game. We've seen him defend takedowns and scramble back to his feet, but every time he steps into the smart cage, he is determined to show everybody that he is a mixed martial artist, not a striker in mixed martial arts. And of course, this is a very special night for him, very special occasion, but this city is also very, very special for Biagio. If we go back to the Centennial Olympics, 1996, his grandfather was the one that lit the Olympic torch. Now, At this point, Muhammad Ali had been reclusive for a long period of time due to his battle with Parkinson's. This was the first time he'd stepped out onto a public stage. Now, you've got to imagine, he was the heavyweight champion of the world, one of the most elite athletes that's ever walked the face of the planet. For him to step onto a public stage and show that vulnerability, dealing with Parkinson's and struggling to get that torch lit in that moment, the whole world saw Muhammad Ali and how strong he was, how courageous he was in that moment. And you've got to think that in Atlanta, same place that he lit that torch, Biagio is carrying that torch into the smart cage tomorrow night and determined to do his grandfather proud.
Watching the footage of him lighting the torch for the Olympics was very inspirational. You know, he was a man of courage. He was a man that took risks. He was fearless. And everyone saw that when he lit the torch for the Olympics, you know, and every time I fight, that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see a man who's fearless, you're gonna see courage, and you're gonna see someone who is not afraid to take risks. And, you know, the fact that I'm fighting here in Atlanta is super inspirational because he took that leap of courage in this city. So you're gonna see the same thing Friday.
And you can see the determination in that young man's eyes. Make sure you watch his fight tomorrow night. Sean, back to you.
Thank you, Dan, and I guess thank you, Brett. We're letting everyone in the building for the weigh-ins, I guess. All right. Let's talk about the early fights. Starting on ESPN Plus, these 7 bouts, exclusively on ESPN Plus. Of course, heavyweight and women's featherweight contests in the regular season. Folks vying for points in playoff spots. Also, a heavyweight showcase bout between 2 Challenger Series veterans to start the action. You can see Denzel Freeman there in the blue corner, one of those aforementioned Challenger Series vets. He is a favorite, as is Jordan Heiderman and Evelyn Martins in the blue corner. Dennis Goltsov is a big-time favorite at -800. Let's talk a little bit more about Dennis Goltsov. This is a guy who seems to have it all in the heavyweight division, but he does not yet have a PFL championship.
Well, here's a guy who's got 2 world championships in combat sambo. He's a master of sport in combat sambo. 6'5", in my opinion, the best jab in mixed martial arts. Uses his footwork very, very well. Shot selection is accurate and on point. Ground and pound is on point. This guy's very good in the clinch. He will take you down from there and put you on your back. He's a well-rounded fighter. He's got 14 knockouts, 24 victories to his credit. This guy's a very, very, very skilled fighter, and he's going to be tough for anybody to deal with in the heavyweight division. This guy brings it all. Well, look for him to come out strong and use that jab.
All right, so he's probably the fighter to chase, at least on the early card. Kenny, what about in the women's featherweight division? Who should we watch?
I have my eyes on Marina Mokhnakina. You know, she was a multi-time world champion in Sambo. Last year, you know, she had mixed success. This season, though, she looked absolutely phenomenal. Really was able to put it all together there against Yoko Higashi. We saw her striking on the feet. We saw her level changes and takedowns and control on the ground. And she just seemed overall way more composed in the smart cage, and she is definitely someone to watch and potentially get to the final.
All right, so Mokhnakina with 5 points, Dennis Goltsov with 6 points. Like any other sport, any other regular season, starting fast is important, but it's how you finish that's even more important if you're trying to get that playoff spot here in the PFL. All right, we're gonna start the action, as I mentioned, with a heavyweight showcase bout. Isaiah Pinson squaring off against Denzel Freeman. Andy Shepard is also here at the OTE to get him on the scale. Andy, to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. We are back for week 2 of 3 here in Atlanta, and tomorrow night it's our heavyweights and women's featherweights who get their opportunity to book their place in the all-important PFL playoffs. Now, last week we saw some spectacular performances here in the OTE arena. Will we see the same tomorrow night? We'll find out from 6:30 p.m. Eastern live on ESPN+. Now, let's welcome the man who will oversee this evening's weigh-ins. It's President of Fighter Operations, Ray Sefo. Fighting out of the blue corner, from Atlanta, Georgia, Denzel Freeman. Official weight 261 3/4 pounds. And fighting out of the red corner from Las Vegas, Nevada, Isaiah Pinson. Official weight 247 3/4 pounds.
Up next, a regular season heavyweight contest. Patrick Brady and Jordan Heidemann.
Fighting out of the blue corner from Norfolk, Nebraska, Jordan Heidemann. Official weight 247 3/4 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of Washington Township, New Jersey, Patrick Brady. Official weight 256 3/4 pounds.
Up next will be the first women's featherweight contest of tomorrow's card. Elena Kolesnik, Yoko Higashi.
Fighting out of the blue corner from Chiba, Japan, Yoko Higashi. Official weight 144 1/4 pounds. And in the red corner, from Odessa, Ukraine, Elena Kolesnik. Official weight 145 pounds.
Up next, more women's featherweight regular season action. Julia Budd and Martina Jindrova.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Prague, Czech Republic, Martina Jindrova. Official weight 146 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of Port Moody, British Columbia, Canada, Julia Budd. Official weight 145 1/2 pounds.
It's an all-Brazilian matchup at heavyweight for the next bout. Danilo Marques, Marcelo Nunes.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, Marcelo Nunes. Official weight 248 1/2 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, Danilo Marques. Official weight 250 1/2 pounds.
back to the women's featherweight division we go. Marina Mokhnakina, Evelyn Martins.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, Evelyn Martins. Official weight 147 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of St. Petersburg, Russia, Marina Mokhnakina. Official weight 145.5 pounds.
Final bout on the early card will take place in the heavyweight division. Denis Goltsov, currently top of the table in the standings, and Jorgen De Castro.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Mindelo, Cape Verde, Jorgen De Castro. Official weight 264.75 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of St. Petersburg, Russia, Denis Goltsov. Official weight 246.25 pounds.
Remember, all of these regular season bouts are designed for one thing, a push to the playoffs, coming to San Antonio and New York.
This is the hardest competition in sport, never mind combat.
Oh boy! Big right hand. Oh, huge knee. With the flying knee.
Let's get it in August in San Antonio.
Garden's the Mecca. Everyone in the world knows where Madison Square Garden is. It's the most iconic arena in the world.
Beautiful right hand right on the button. Top of the featherweight.
Oh boy!
And he's down, and he's done. We cannot wait for those playoffs, but plenty of business to attend to before we know who will be fighting in said playoffs. Up next, special amateur showcase. Biagio Ali Walsh, Travell Miller, Andy Shepard, get them to the scale.
Yeah, the following bouts take place on our main card and feature two of last year's PFL World Champions. But even they have to qualify for the playoffs. Can they do it? We found out from 10 p.m. Eastern live on ESPN and ESPN+. And yes, we do kick off with a special amateur lightweight showcase bout. First, fighting out of the blue corner, from Detroit, Michigan, Travell Miller. Official weight 154.5 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, Biagio Ali Walsh. Official weight 155.5 pounds.
back to the regular season action we go. This contest in the women's featherweight division. Aspen Ladd taking on Karolina Sobek.
In the blue corner, from Biagio, Poland, Karolina Sobek. Official weight 145.5 pounds. And in the red corner, from El Dorado Hills, California, Aspen Ladd. Official weight 145 pounds.
Up next, a heavyweight contest. Two giants squaring up. It's Renan Ferreira and Mateus Schaffer.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Curitiba, Brazil, Mateus Schaffer. Official weight 260.5 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of Porangatu, Brazil, Renan Ferreira. Official weight 259 pounds.
That brings us to our co-main event tomorrow night. Women's featherweight matchup. Larissa Pacheco, Amber Leibrock.
Fighting out of the blue corner from Hayward, California, Amber Leibrock. Official weight 145.75 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting up Marituba, Brazil, Larissa Pacheco. Official weight 145.5 pounds.
Take a closer look at this contest with the tail of the tape. Larissa Pacheco, 28 years of age. Amber Leibrock is 35. You can see the 6-inch difference in height. Both women weighing in at the 146-pound featherweight limit. Both the arms and the legs show a reach advantage for Amber Leibrock, which we should not be surprised by given the height advantage. All right, let's talk about the returning champion. Although not in this weight class, Larissa Pacheco wants to be the first ever two-division champion in the PFL. Can't she do it?
I think she's absolutely capable of doing it. You know, she has that right balance of keeping her feet on the ground, but also setting high goals for herself. And like I said earlier, you know, she sees herself as having a great legacy in this sport, and she's well on her way.
But Brett Okamoto is standing by with the woman, trying to block her from even appearing in the playoffs. Brett, to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sean. And Amber, life comes at you fast, huh? You just made your PFL debut, and now here you are squaring down with last year's lightweight champion. What was going through your mind when you're staring at Larissa Pacheco just now?
I'm honored, you know. I've been watching her for a lot of years. I know that she's the best in the world. I'm super excited to share the cage with her, honored to share the cage with somebody at her level and her experience, you know, and I'm ready to prove myself, not just to the world, but to myself, and show everyone that I am the best 145er.
Amber, what do you think would be more satisfying? A 15-minute fight where you really show, like, I am at this level, or another head kick like you had back in April?
I mean, a win is a win. I want to perform. You know, I want everyone to see me perform. There's not a lot of 3-rounders I've been in. You know, I'm not overlooking Larissa at all. She is at the top of the game. She's the best in the world at this moment, and I'm expecting a 3-round war. I'm expecting us to go all the way, and I'm expecting us both to have a beautiful performance, not just for ourselves, but for the featherweights as a whole.
Well, I'm looking forward to it very much. Best of luck tomorrow evening.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
All right, Randy, you heard what Amber had to say there. Look, she doesn't fight to decision very often. Is she capable of getting a finish over Larissa Pacheco?
She's coming off 4 first-round finishes, so she's definitely has some momentum in her favor. She believes that she's come into her time, that she was put here for a reason, and it was to win right here in the PFL. This feels like home to her.
Well, her opponent is on a mission to prove she's the best female fighter on planet Earth. Larissa Pacheco is standing by with Brett. Excuse me, Dan.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with the women's 2022 lightweight champion, returning to try and take the featherweight belt this year. Tell me what the motivation's like for you to be returning as a champion of another weight class, trying to become a 2-weight champion.
Compartilhe pouco com a gente como é a motivação de ser um campeão de 70 quilos, está descendo agora para 66, tentando ser a primeira campeã da PFL de duas divisões.
Bom, ter que baixar de categoria é horrível, né? Mas eu acho que poder me provar como bicampeã da PFL em 2 categorias, eu acho que essa é a maior motivação hoje para mim. Então eu quero construir esse legado dentro da PFL.
Well, having to go down a weight class is kind of awful, but you know, just the thought of being able to prove myself in 2 different weight classes and being the first 2-division champion of the PFL, it's a pretty amazing feeling. That's what's driving me.
And you're down a weight class, but you're fighting someone that's taller, with a longer reach, who has very quick first-round finishes. Tell me about what you expect from your opponent and what she thinks of you as a challenge.
Você desceu o peso, mas está lutando com uma oponente muito alta, que tem assim, uma carcaça grande, né? Me diz um pouco do que você acha dela, o que você espera de uma performance dela amanhã e de uma luta em geral.
Bom, eu acho que ela é uma boa strike, eu acho que é a base dela, né? Então, eu vi algumas lutas dela, vi que ela gosta de aplicar mais a parte em cima. Eu acho que eu me diversifiquei bastante ao longo desses anos, ganhei uma experiência até e complementei o meu estilo de luta. Então, eu acho que, de fato, a gente vai fazer uma guerra lá em cima, eu vou sentir a luta, vou ver o que ela quer de verdade e a gente vai pra briga. Vamos lá, o que é melhor, vença.
Well, I think she's a good striker, and that's what I expect from her on tomorrow's fight. When you look at my style and my fights, I feel like I've diversified myself a lot. I think I've proved myself as an actual mixed martial artist. And, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. Let's step inside the cage tomorrow. Let's see what she has to offer. I'm going to try to feel the fight a little bit, and may the best one win.
I'm very excited. Back to you guys.
So you've got a woman known for first-round finishes in Larissa Pacheco, who's already got a belt. You've got another woman known for first-round finishes who wants to prove she's better than that woman who already has the belt. That co-main event promises fireworks, and I cannot wait for it tomorrow night. That will be on ESPN, simulcast on ESPN Plus, and on ESPN Deportes. And, of course, it will lead in to this heavyweight contest, our main event. Ante Dillia, Maurice Green.
Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner from Broadal Bend, New York, Maurice Green. Official weight 255.5 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of Zagreb, Croatia, Ante Dillia. Official weight 251 pounds.
A look at our tail of tape in this main event contest, Ante Dillia versus Maurice Green. Green is the taller fighter. He's 6 feet 7 inches tall. Ante Delia does not find himself looking up at opponents very often. You can see they're very close in weight, both men in that 250-pound range. Reach advantage on the arms and the legs, not surprisingly favoring Maurice Green. All right, Kenny Florian, the crochet boss. Maurice Green looking to pull off an upset here and take out last year's champion.
Well, first of all, he looks like he's in phenomenal shape. And again, he's been putting in a lot of work and putting in a lot of work with John Jones, one of the greatest fighters, if not the greatest fighter of all time. John Jones will actually be in his corner tomorrow. He gets a lot of confidence from John being in his corner, from training with him. And he's going to look to try to use some of that information, use some of those techniques from John Jones tomorrow night.
The crochet boss, yes, that's really his nickname, Maurice Green, is with Brett Okamoto.
He's coming back right now. There he is. Maurice, all business there at that stare down. You told us earlier that you were going to maybe kind of give him a little bro hug and size him up and see how big he was. What did you take away from that stare down?
That he's ready, and I'm ready. It's going to be a fight.
You're coming into this main event in a really great spot. 5 points already. You're facing last year's champion. What is the main motivation? You're trying to prove something here? You're just trying to solidify up a spot? What is the main takeaway that you want from Friday evening?
I said it a million times in interviews. I'm fighting last year's champ. It doesn't make me a champ to beat him. It's the halfway mark of this season. I'm trying to get to Madison Square Garden, and that's where I'm going to get.
Well, I love what you told us earlier, man. You're 37. The time is now. It's Maurice Green time. We'll see if it is tomorrow night. Very much looking forward to the fight. Best of luck. Guys.
All right. A very focused Maurice Green. But standing in his way, of course, is a formidable guy, a guy who's been to a championship and lost, been to a championship and won last season. Ante Delia is a complete mixed martial artist.
Absolutely. Fights with the legendary Mirko Cro Cop, the great striker, got a strong judo background, very well-rounded fighter. He's faced some adversity through a couple of seasons in the PFL, and I think he's come into his own. He's looking to repeat, and he has all the tools to do that. Now, he put himself under the gun a little bit because he couldn't fight in the first round or first regular season fight due to an injury. He seems to be 100% now. He says he's 100%. We'll see what he's got tomorrow night against Maurice Green.
Dan Hardy has last year's champion, Ante Delia. Dan?
Thanks, guys. I'm here with the returning heavyweight champion, a very intimidating individual, let me tell you that. I wouldn't like to be fighting him. Ante, tell me what it was like to miss the first part of the season, to get an opportunity to put some points on the scoreboard.
Kako se osjećaš da nisi bio u prvom krugu takmičenja I kako ćeš to povratiti?
Nažalost, imao sam ozljedu od prošle sezone I iću finišira borbu. Recimo, lani sam u polufinalu I finalu završio borbu u prvoj rundi kad nije trebalo, tako da ove godine isto očekujem da će biti završetak.
So he basically had some small injury from the last season. He managed to fix it, and he has no extra pressure because last year he also had in quarterfinals first round finish, and he didn't need to do the finish. So he always go for the finish, and that's it.
And you fighting someone, a tall, rangy guy with good strikes, Maurice Green. What do you think to this guy as an opponent, and how do you plan on dealing with him?
Šta misliš o Mauriceu Greenu što je toliko visok I što ima toliko duge ruke I njegov striking je dobar da drži više na distanci? Kako je taktika I šta misliš kod toga?
Pa volim se boriti protiv visokih boraca. Mislim da sam imao dosta uspjeha I protiv Ranana Ferreire I protiv Goldstova. Tako da oni su visoki I odgovarali su mi. Mislim da će mi on odgovara.
I basically had already experience with the taller fighters, so for me this is no problem, and I'm here for the win.
I'm excited for you guys. Good luck.
Thank you, man.
Back to you guys.
I love walking trouble. Always the same. Never too high, never too low, but dangerous and scary. Of course, he is the returning champion, as we mentioned several times, but he's only got one opportunity to earn points. And because of the way that everyone else is stacking up right now at heavyweight, he might, by that main event starting, he might know he needs a first round finish, depending on how all the other bouts shake out. That means action for us at the OTE here in Atlanta. And as long as we brought the heavyweights here for the second half of the regular season, we're going to bring the newest heavyweight signing for the PFL, the baddest man on the planet, Francis Ngannou. Big signing. He was the biggest free agent potentially in the history of the sport. Well, not anymore. Now he's officially a PFL heavyweight. Look at that, the boss, Pete Murray, with the handshake.
Nice of you to loan him your car. That was a very nice car.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah, just one of my many Rolls Royces. So wait, Kenny, you said John Jones is going to be in the building tomorrow to corner Marie's screen. And Francis Ngannou is going to be in the building tomorrow because, you know, he's the newest PFL heavyweight. So you're talking about the UFC heavyweight champion and the guy who left the UFC and vacated that heavyweight championship. They've been chirping back and forth on Twitter a little bit. We've been talking about this baddest man versus baddest man matchup for a long time. I'm just saying, they're both going to be here tomorrow at Overtime Elite Arena. I can't make any promises. I will be stoking the fire. I'll be passing notes.
If they start fighting, it's going to be all you. I'm getting out of here.
I'm getting out of there too, buddy. You're on your own with that one.
Hey, John, Francis said you smell weird. Hey, Francis. We'll see how it goes. That's all for the weigh-ins. Tomorrow we've got regular season action in the women's featherweight division. Heavyweights squaring off for playoff spots. It's either continue your drive to $1 million championship or watch the dream die, at least for 2023, tomorrow night. The stakes are high here in Atlanta. Join us 6 Eastern on ESPN+.